Welcome back to Six Sided. Please hit that like button. Please get yourself subscribing. Lots to talk about today, with Maresca now heavily linked to a potential job at Manchester City at the end of the season. The race for Antoine Semenyo increases, with United, Arsenal, City, and Liverpool linked. Spurs are in the race as well, but they're not going to win it. So, but we'll talk about that on the show. They won't win it. They just won't. No chance whatsoever. We're also going to look ahead of the big games this weekend, with Newcastle taking on Chelsea. There is Everton hosting Arsenal. United play Aston Villa, and the mighty, the crazily good Tottenham Hotspur and their unbeatable home record host Liverpool Football Club as well. So loads to talk about, loads to go through today. We've got an amazing panel. Laura Kirk is back with it. Laura Kirk Francis, sorry. I don't want to offend half the surname. Is back with us today. We've got Anton in the house. Kwess is here, ready to cry about Enzo Maresca maybe leaving. Ash in his bowl cut is back on the show again. Tom Little is here, having washed and combed his hair. And the lovely Kate is here with us as well. Not looking bad for 47, 48 years old, as we were discussing backstage. Welcome, everyone. How are we all? We all good and well?
Yeah, look, I just gotta say, on a personal note, I've been a bit of a tougher week because, for everybody who doesn't know, I live in Australia, and we've had a massive crisis happen here in Bondi earlier on the Sunday. So it's been a bit of a tough one, getting better as the week goes on, but yeah,
obviously horrendous situation that happened at Bondi Beach, and thoughts and prayers to every single person who's been affected in any single which way. Absolutely horrific as well. Absolutely echo that, my friend, and thanks for being here today. Thanks, by the way, everybody, for the birthday wishes yesterday. I had a lot of messages. The WhatsApp was blowing up. I felt quite popular, which was nice. And so thank you, everybody, wishing me a happy 40th. It feels the same as when I was 39. It feels the same as when I was 30, to be honest with you. But thank you for the wishes. It was a lovely day. I've got some great gifts. I'm not going to try and pronounce where I'm going on holiday, because I butchered it 3 times backstage, even though Laura very articulated it well. I still got it wrong with my slight Cockney accent that I have, so I'll leave that one out. But thank you all to the viewers as well, and everyone that wished it to us as well. Loads to talk about today. There's loads going on in the footballing world, and I want to start. I think we've got to start with the big breaking news that came out a few hours ago, and this is verbatim from David Ornstein, that Enzo Maresca is high amongst candidates for Manchester City are considering in the case that Pep Guardiola exits next summer. That's the end of the 25-26 season. Man City advancing contingency work for the possibility of a manager change. Ben Jacobs has doubled down on this and says that Chelsea have declined to comment. They say the manager's contracted, and any potential exit, they'd have to go through him. City sources have noted that Pep's contract does last till beyond the summer, and have now been refused to be drawn into speculation. But why are you advancing a contingency plan if you don't think he might leave? So very interesting as well, at the back of the comments about the worst 48 hours that Maresca has suffered at Chelsea, which Chelsea officials have been stunned by. They weren't expecting to hear from him. So, Kwess, is this an element of no smoke without fire, or is it just all a very happy coincidence?
Oh boy, it could be a nice little concoction of both, to be honest with you. Is there smoke there? Definitely. I mean, Man City obviously are going to be looking for a successor, and why wouldn't you go with somebody that you've known quite well before? It makes sense. Maresca's doing well, although in some ways it does feel a little bit like a kick in the teeth to me as a Chelsea fan. I don't know about other Chelsea fans, because I distinctly remember when we hired Maresca, people were telling us confidently that he was a championship manager and would be sacked by Christmas. So I feel a little bit disgusted by this sort of glazing that is going on now, because I knew he was good from the beginning. But I do get it. Man City have got to look at options. And if you're going to go through a big rebuild, you've got to find somebody who's a bit younger, knows how to manage, a big squad, and is probably capable of understanding what you're trying to build. So, yeah, definitely, there's definitely going to be smoke and fire there, probably. Now, do I think Maresca's playing foul? Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, I was thinking about this in on the way home in the car, and I was thinking, you know what? It might be controversial for me to say, I don't know, but I would actually be fuming if Maresca even entertained this. Because for me, right, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. In the same way that Maresca's done really well with this squad that hasn't been well supported, is the same way Chelsea gave him a chance. And when someone gives you a chance and you're on the way up, you remember who gave you a chance and you show a form of loyalty. For me, the sporting directors have not done enough. I know everybody, honestly, everybody's losing their mind saying Chelsea have done so bad recruitment-wise, blah, 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 blah. Half of our issues are injuries, right? So I can't be too mad at the sporting directors. But for me, when you're on the up, you remember who gave you a chance. And I also think, as a manager, if you come into a club and you build connections and relationships with your players, you don't jump ship at the earliest sign of a half-decent opportunity. Because there's nothing to say that you go to City and the expectation completely changes, and then people are now not looking at you as an upcoming manager, but as a manager that has everything to prove. So for me, I would actually be genuinely I would be fuming if Maresca entertained this. I think you still owe something to Chelsea. And I also think it'd be bad for your career to jump this quick. You still got something to prove here. Go and win Chelsea a domestic trophy. I also think if you stay, you've got a great chance of winning the league in the next 2 seasons. So why not do that and then go? Tom, stop blinking, man. Just let me finish, bro. Isn't it? Yeah? See you, bring. Don't worry, because I'm going to get to you about Salah. Don't you worry, mate. Yeah? Right? Well,
that's not one of the 6-sided topics today. We're only talking about the 6-sided topics.
I know, I lost my cool there. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
How comes you just went Scottish and not Scouse?
I was going to say, what was that Scouse accent?
Get your trousers, Tom. What's going on here? I don't even get. I thought Sir Alex Ferguson turned up.
I had too much fruit juice earlier, man. That's what it is, but yeah, no, that's my 10 pence. Generally, like I think this is a power.
Do you understand why you want to go though?
No, it's not been that bad. Genuinely, for me, it's not been that bad. Like, for me, the way I look at this is you've just got a new agent, super agent Jorge Mendes. And for me, if I was Maresca's agent, man said Habibi. Yeah. If I was Maresca's agent, I would go, yeah, the club right now could do more for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to show in the public eye that we're entertaining other ideas. Because at the end of the day, you don't lose. If they sack you, you probably go on to get a better job. And right now, your stock is high. So nobody's going to see this as a bad move for you. If they keep you, then they have to back you because they know other people are like well positioned to give you another chance. It's what people do in like careers all the time. You say you're going to go and entertain and get some interviews, and you go to a couple different little interviews days at other companies, all to put pressure on your company to give you a pay rise or a better situation where you're at. People do this all the time. I think it's great, but I just think for Maresca, you still got a lot to prove. And at the end of the day, if you love Chelsea and you love Chelsea fans like you say you do, you prove it. If you go, sayonara, I'll treat you like Havertz and the rest.
Okay, I'm gonna ask the first fact or fiction question to the panel. I'm gonna go to Laura first on this and say, fact or fiction? Enzo Maresca joining Man City would be the best move for his career. They'll build him a squad he needs to win major trophies.
I think that's fact. I think it would be a good move for him. So, and I say this as someone who I'm a #1 Chelsea hater. So I have no. That's it. I think the idea that he needs to show Chelsea any loyalty is insane. So loyalty to their managers, they turn him over. I don't think he owes Chelsea anything. And I think going to City at this time is quite a good transition period because they've got a couple of players who are out of contract, but they've got a couple of players coming into good form. I think it's a perfect opportunity for him, as well as he will have much more control over who he signs because Man City don't just stockpile players in the way that Chelsea do. Like, I don't think you can expect any loyalty from a manager, especially at Chelsea.
And especially not from a manager who jumped ship from Leicester at the first sign of a better move to go to Chelsea.
But that's not true, is it?
You look at Maresca though. Look at Maresca's career path. He was the assistant under Pep.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is, and I'd say arguably he's the one that has the most similarities to Pep out of the group of his protégés. He's the one that I look at and I see the most.
I would argue Mikel, but
no.
It's much more Maresca. Maresca's a lot similar in terms of management style than Arteta. It's not better, just more similar. So then I look at what's happening. The Man City job is one of the most in-demand jobs in the world because they are an ambitious club that are going to try and present you with the best squad possible at every possible opportunity. And he's going in to be the successor to the man who he's most similar to. So for Man City, it makes an awful lot of sense because, as Terry always says, football clubs build around the model. So you go and get a manager who's most similar to the one that you're losing. Maresca's the most similar to Pep. He's going to see it as a step up because Chelsea's plan might, like I said, they might be title challengers in 2 years. Man City title challengers straight away. And if what he's saying in the media actually has a bit of truth behind it, that he feels that he's not got the trust upstairs and that he doesn't feel confident and comfortable with the situation going on upstairs, it makes complete sense to go to a club where he's already got a reputation and he knows from previous experience and from the predecessor before him that they will back him and back his ideas, and he has a squad there that's ready and able to adapt to his ideas straight away. I think it makes an awful lot of sense for Maresca. And how often does the Man City job become available? If he passes on this now and sticks out with Chelsea, how long until that Man City job becomes available? Pep's done what, 9-10 years? If they go and get a new manager in and he does 2/3 of that time, we're talking 6 or 7 years, that job might never be there for Maresca again. We could be talking about this being the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him at Man City, just based on timelines. So I think for him it does make sense.
I disagree, but
what do you say? What do you reckon, Kate? Do you think this is something that Maresca should push towards himself? Do you think maybe that's why the comments have happened, this leak has come? Because this feels different from City. I know City have mentioned shortlists in the past, but it's always kind of been throwaway comments. Maybe you have an Ornstein or a Ben Jacobs talking about a manager and they'll say, oh, his name is on the long-term replacement for Pep list. There's always like a mention of it, but this feels very different. It's a full feature-length article in the New York Times and in The Athletic. Ben Jacobs has now come out and done a full-length piece on this. It does feel like Pep could be on his way out. If you're Maresca's agent right now, are you listening to Kwess and going, no, let's show loyalty to Chelsea, let's hope that the kid project works? Or are you saying, let's join the most successful English team of the last decade and replace the Padawan replacing the master? What would you advise him to do, Kate?
I'd tell him to take the Man City job at 100 mile an hour. The thing is with Chelsea, the minute they get a few bad results, their fans will be screaming for him to go, and there will be no loyalty there whatsoever. And Maresca's perfect for City. He knows the club inside out. He was there, trained the elite development squad. He went back and assisted with Pep. I just think it's a no-brainer. If the opportunity is there, he would be absolutely crazy not to take it. And Kwess, I love you, especially for your comment backstage where you said that I look 25. But if you think a manager, when he says he loves Chelsea and he loves the fans, is telling the truth, then you are mistaken. Pochettino sat and said he loves Spurs, he loves the fans, and then went to Chelsea. Managers do not give a shit about your club. They just care who's paying their wages. And yeah, if I was his agent, I'd tell him, like Tom said, you don't know when that Man City job's going to come up again. And to be fair, I think he's a perfect fit because he's good at bringing the young players through, and it will be kind of a reset with Man City bringing a lot of the youngsters through. So yeah, I would be telling him to take the job should the opportunity come up.
Could I come at this with a different angle, Tal?
Yeah.
I do think it'd be a good move for him. Like ideally, I think in reality, I don't know how it would work out, just simply because of the fact that the standards are so high under Pep Guardiola. The fan base is so used to such a high standard of management, like the champion, like the amount of titles that they have won. There's huge pressure to deliver at Man City that there is not at Chelsea. And if Maresca were to fall anywhere below that standard, I don't know how long he would actually last in that job. Like, there are a lot of great managers who've taken over after the great ones. I mean, everybody tells me how good Unai Emery is as a coach, but he followed Wenger and couldn't last a year and a half in the job before we said, sayonara, son. Like, it's not easy. And I can understand him looking at it as a career move, like, hey, I get to go to City, all the finances are there for me, and the players are better. But I just think in reality, I don't know if it would play out that well. That's just kind of me thinking it from the other side.
That's not a reason for him not to go, though. Like, when any managerial kind of like challenge, it could go either way. I just think from where he is at the moment, I take your point that the standards are very high, but he'll know that.
I personally don't get that point anyway, because I feel like Chelsea's a tougher club to manage. Like, literally, Chelsea wins more and they sack.
No, but at Chelsea,
no, that's not true. That's not true.
At Chelsea, their standards are so low. They're like, if you make top 4 and our project is 2, 3, 4 years away, you'll be fine.
Oh, wow. I can't believe we're doing this
right now. You sack a manager after they win a Champions League. No, you can't do anything.
Who?
That's a different. I was under different ownership though. I was under Roman.
Who won the Champions League and we sacked him? And tell me their credentials. No. Answer the question. Don't go over there. Answer the question, Ash.
What did he do about
Answer the question.
What did he do about
Listen, if you know what they were saying about what Tuchel was doing behind the scenes, you'd understand completely that it was never going to work, considering that Tuchel is the kind of man that wants complete control. And if he's not willing to work with the sporting directors they're going to bring in, of course it's going to be tension.
As a manager?
But also, we've not gone on
to bring you that level.
Hold on. We've also not gone on to see Tuchel succeed elsewhere.
Hey.
Chile wins the World Cup, mate.
Exactly. When he brings it home, he's going to be bringing it home. So you take that back right now.
My point is that we've not gone on to see him succeed. Can he? Yes. I still think Tuchel is a world-class manager, but we haven't seen him succeed anywhere else. And so for me, the point remains that, okay, fine. It's easy for everyone here to dunk on Chelsea. I know that's the fun thing to do. It's the easy thing to do. I get it. It's cool. But at the end of the day, right, it's easy to think moving from Chelsea now to City will be the right step when actually you're going to go in with a different kind of pressure. And it is true. Actually, Anton's point is actually very, very valid in the sense that if you go there and you do 11 rotations, like he just did the other week, you're not getting the same kind of patience you're getting at Chelsea. The reason why you get patience at Chelsea is because
notorious for never rotating, isn't he?
That's not my point. I'll finish. My point is this, right? Is if you do that kind of rotation at City, right, you're not going to get the same kind of patience because right now the scapegoat is still the owners.
Yeah,
when you go to, let me finish. When you go to City,
talk about that.
When you go to City, the scapegoat will not be the owners because, as you've said in that question, they will provide everything for you. Do you know so there's nothing to say he won't do the same things he's doing there as he's doing now, and you won't get the same kind of patience.
Kwess, I know you're patient, but there's a lot of. I know you are, but there's a very large percentage of the Chelsea fan base who did it with Poch. And they've done it with Maresca. Every time you lose, it's Maresca's playing people out of position. Maresca's rotating. Maresca's done this. It's never, maybe the squad isn't as good as we think it is. The manager is with a very loud and noisy percentage of the Chelsea fan base. The manager is always the problem. And it's seldom the players. And we have a number of them that come on the Football Terrace. These guys are on massive platforms. So I will say this. I get you, and there are a percentage of Chelsea fans who are behind Maresca, want him to be given the time, want him to be given better players. There's also another percentage that think your squad is the second best in the Premier League. There's another percentage that think it's one of the best in Europe. And if they're not winning, the first thing they're going to do is blame the manager. So I think that the Chelsea fan base is very split in that. There are some that are patient. There is another very noisy population within your fan base who will blame Maresca before they dare look at the squad or ownership and have a go. They trust the system and the process. They believe that Clearlake are great for their club. They will turn on the manager. They'll turn on him like milk in the sun.
Do you know why?
Crazy for that, though.
Quest, do you know why I completely think you're wrong about the rotation thing though with City?
Tell me, Sam.
Why is he rotating so much at Chelsea? Because you have such a young squad. They all need time to be able to. Because of what? Sorry, injuries. Yes, but also you've got injury problems, but also because you need to get these young players time to actually play first team football, especially with how much you paid for them. Man City, I am not going to lie to you, you're not going to be rotating the likes of Erling Haaland all the time, are you? Like,
did he play last night?
I'm not saying that he won't be completely rotating for someone like, say, Marmoush or anything, but the likes of he's going to be playing Haaland for 60 minutes a game at least, because that's the type of player he is. And the likes of Phil Foden. Like, the thing is, you can't compare your squad to Man City squad.
No one's doing that. My point is the club expectations are different.
It's not true that Chelsea population I was talking about. They think you're attacking the attack of your squad. They think it's better than City's.
But see what I mean?
Dom says it all the time. He dismisses shit.
But this is what I mean. What do you want us to do? Right? Tell me what you want me to do. Because if we win what we won in the summer and we beat the best team in the world, that's a fact now, right? They just won the Intercontinental Cup and we dusted them. We have to have a perspective that our squad is of a level that we can compete with the rest of the best in the world.
But that was a one-off game.
Fine, call it a one-off game. We played Arsenal. They're the other best squad in the universe, as Anton and Dan told us. And we drew 1-1 at home with a red card. So what do we do now when we see these examples of us being really, really, really good and then saying our squad is decent, but then when we fail, everybody else telling us we're really rubbish, then we say, okay, fine. Since we're rubbish, we don't have expectations, but then we're not actually expecting enough from our club. What are we supposed to do? So
it's about balance for me. So again, I think individual game. Man United beat Chelsea this season. We know our squad ain't as good as yours, right? That's the fundamentals of this. We beat Palace away from home. I don't think we're a better team than Palace. If I'm being honest with you, I'd fancy them to beat us 8 times out of 10 when we play them. It was just on those. There are 2 occasions where we might win. I think it's about balance. I don't think Chelsea have a terrible squad. I don't think it's as good as some Chelsea fans push it to be. The reason why I bring that up as being significant is we're debating and talking here about the pressures of going to other clubs. Of course, there's pressure when you go to play for Manchester City. But actually, when I listen to most City fans, when it comes to talking about their club in the last couple of years, they've been critical of Pep when they fell off. But the first thing they looked at is, well, the recruitment hasn't been good enough. The Calvin Phillipses, etc. They went out and bought, bringing Ilkay Gundogan back, keeping Carl Walker for another year. Their view was the recruitment was bad and Pep needed better players, which was fair and honest. I think in the Chelsea fan base, there are some people that are like you, and they're correct. But there's another percentage that genuinely believe you've got one of the creme de la creme squads across Europe. And if you're not right up there at the top, the first person's neck they're going to stand on is the manager. The reason being, they can then just keep kicking the can down the road. Their football knowledge is good and the squad's brilliant. It's just the manager ruined them. I know that it's why they do it. Listen, I've been in this game a long time. I invented most of the wrinkles in it. I understand the narratives. And for me, I've got a lot of wrinkles now as well. It's been that long. Me and Kate were like twins. It's one of the... Sorry, Kate.
That's terrible.
Violating.
It's cool.
Not me. I've had Botox, actually.
You want to get a refund?
Can't see.
You want to fight off.
Kate has a fringe and Botox, and it didn't help. I did joking. I can hear Jimbo laughing. I can hear your husband laughing. But look, I think he should take the job if he gets offered it. And the reason why I say that is that I've spoke to so many Chelsea fans. Most don't believe you're going to change the transfer policy. And as much as it might work what you're doing, the still young players might mature into world-class players and be the core. And then the new youngsters are the supplements. And you go on to win the league multiple times and Champions League and keep challenging. It's still a method that has never, not that it won't work, it's never been done before. So the idea that it will work is an unknown. I think when you've got the idea to go to a club that I think for a good couple of seasons, one, is already going to have a brilliant squad and they will spend whatever necessary to get in the best quality players possible to win. I think turning that down, it may never come again. And I think he has to take the opportunity when it presents itself.
I know this is going on, so I'm not trying to keep us honest, but don't you think then it's like, don't you think it's crazy, right, for us to say that a young player coming out of the academy shouldn't rush to jump ship to a team to play football. He should go out on loan, earn his stripes, prove the mettle, and then, you know, like what's happening with Kobe Mainu now. Like everyone thinks he's earned it now, yeah. So I don't get why the same thing is not applied with this manager. I think this is a lot of recency bias that a lot of you are applying here. Because again, a year and a half ago, we were saying a lot of you guys were saying he's a championship manager, he's getting sacked at Christmas. All of a sudden, he's doing a really good job, and we don't want to admit that he's doing a good job, and that means also Chelsea are doing a good job. We want to separate the two and say Chelsea bad, manager good. I don't understand. Chelsea still provided these players. He's doing a good job with the players Chelsea provided. Could he be doing a better job? Yes, and I suspect if Levi Colwill was fit, and I suspect if Palmer was fit from the start of the season, and we had recruited a better striker, and our backup centre mid hadn't have got injured in Yusogo, I suspect we would be doing a lot better than we are this season. And by the way, we're 4th in the league. So we're not doing terrible. We're exactly where I've been saying since the start, based on everything the club is doing, we are doing right. We are exactly where we're supposed to be. We never should be challenging for titles. We never should be challenging for the highest honours. We should be challenging for what is available to us with. Everyone can say, all of this I know, yeah, this proves to me that all of this is fickle. Because at the end of the day, none of this was said in the beginning. It's all said now. And for me, it goes back to the point that this is why I would be upset about Maresca. If someone gives you an opportunity to prove yourself, and fair enough, you prove yourself, then go on proving yourself. Earn the stripes. This stuff about, that job may never come up again is nonsense to me. In the same way, saying that Arsenal will never win a title because they've bottled it all the times before is nonsense to say they couldn't win one. Of course they could win one. So why couldn't this Man City job come up again when if he goes on to win a league with Chelsea in the next 2 to 3 years, Man City might go stuff everything else they got going on. Chelsea, he's done a great job at Chelsea, but we know that's coming to an end. Why don't we hire him now? Why doesn't he wait for company to go and do 2 years, fail, and then take over?
I'm going to hand the response of this to Laura.
To us, I
only because you pulled a few faces when he was talking.
No,
you pulled a few faces.
I actually get what you were saying at the end there. Can I just clarify? Were you comparing like a young player coming through the academy to a seasoned manager, like wanting them to both show loyalty? Is that the point you were making?
I don't think Maresca's a seasoned manager.
But he's a manager. You can't compare a player's loyalty and like their career with a manager deciding to take a job at Man City. Like it's chalk and cheese. And also your kind of stipulation that if this, if that, we could all sit here and do that. But ultimately you are where you are. But I don't think you can compare and expect a loyalty from a manager at all. I think we all love to over-romanticize how much our managers love us. They don't give a shit. He's going to take that job.
Okay, it's different. Yes, it's different, but also I would apply the same because at the end of the day, Leicester gave you an opportunity. You were a championship manager. Everyone said you're getting sacked. You come to Chelsea. You've done well, fair play. You've got another season to prove it. And there's also been lots of chances and opportunities this season for you to have done better in games where you haven't. So we're not going to now act. We're not going to now act like Maresca is perfect. He's not perfect. And for me, I would take it as a disrespect because fans like me have stuck by Maresca in the times when it's been darkest. So for me, I expect an air of loyalty. When you have failed, we've stood by you. When the club is failing, you don't go and throw them under the bus and go, all right, I'll move to City. No, you lock in. And yes, I do hold the same kind of expectation for players and managers. Because at the end of the day, Maresca's still proving himself. If let's say he moves at the end of the season, right? And City end up finishing 5th. And then they struggle in Europe. What are you all going to say? You'll be here saying, maybe he jumped too soon.
Yeah, but Kwess,
maybe that move was too big of a jump for him. Maybe
is it not just about money as well, though?
No.
Bro, if another employer came to you and offered you double the money you were on, what are you going to say? No, because I've been loyal and I like this company that I'm with.
Yes.
Hell no, I'm flipping jumping ship. Give me that bag.
And that says everything about you and what you value.
Of course, I want to bet my family.
Listen, I'm not a mercenary.
Coming at this, like, you of all people, about money is insane. So you think that it's all not about money?
Listen, if Man City came to Eddie Howe...
Hang on a minute there. So you weren't happy when Caicedo left Brighton for more money at Chelsea?
I can't believe that's the angle you've taken, but you're a great journalist. I respect you, Terry.
No,
I mean,
I'm not
this
a journalist.
is a
My
guy who's
point
got
is,
a picture in a Chelsea shirt with his mum in the back of a
Right.
car, and we
hang on a minute though. Hang on a minute though. But he would have joined Arsenal 6 months earlier if they'd bid enough money. My point is, he came to the UK, was given an opportunity over here, which got him spotted by the Arsenals and the Chelseas. He'd only done a year, 18 months at Brighton, and was like, this is a massive opportunity for me and my family, more money, and he went. My thing is this: I don't think any player or any manager owes any club any loyalty. I don't think clubs owe any player or any manager any loyalty, barring aftercare for young players that don't make it, because it's a very harrowing time for them. That's the only time I want to see an element of loyalty and care. At the end of the day, I think we overrate this loyalty nonsense, because we all pick and choose when we want a manager or a player to be loyal or disloyal. We all saw Liverpool fans. This was my turning point as a football fan. When I saw Liverpool fans and the likes of Jamie Carragher create a hate campaign against Raheem Sterling to a point where he's still booed today, only for a year or so later, they were celebrating the signing of Van Dijk, who they literally tapped up illegally and had to delay the signing of. My point is, it's not a dig at Liverpool. It's football fans don't give a fuck when it suits them. They only get upset when it hurts them. And for me, the hypocrisy in it from all of us, we hate a player who forces his way out of our club, but we love a player who does it to join us. If we rate the player,
that's you know what? I'll be
so if Manu forces a move out of Man United by doing more of the free copy Manu stuff and joins Chelsea, you're not going to sit there and go, no, we shouldn't take him because he's shown a disloyalty to the club that grew him.
That's two different things. It's two different things. Whether I think he should do it and whether you should take him are two different things. We all understand that. Do I think what his brother's done for him in backing him is great? Do I think he should have done it publicly? No. Don't rate it. Don't respect it. I think there's better ways to leave a club. Absolutely. You talked about Liverpool. Liverpool have a history of doing this to players that have loved their club. So that is the history of Liverpool. Look what they done to Torres. Look what they did to Gerrard. Gerrard was thinking about moving down south. Don't pull that face.
What did we do to Torres?
Torres, he was burning his shirt. What are you on about?
You was literally Gerrard. I was singing his name for half an hour after the game was over. I don't know about it.
2.5 minutes.
Every single club has got examples of being disloyal and having people be disloyal to them. That's why I think we are all hypocrites if we sit there and pick and choose when it matters and when it doesn't.
But Terry, if it is disloyal, there's nothing wrong with being upset at disloyalty.
Maybe.
That's my point. I will always be upset at disloyalty.
A few super chats here saying expecting loyalty from Maresca is being delusional. Maresca has seen how Chelsea have treated Sterling and Disasi. Brother, you ain't getting any loyalty.
This guy thinks the measure of loyalty is that Maresca's upset because of what happened to Sterling and Disasi. Two players he's not bringing back.
No, it's not about that. It's about him knowing that you're a professional football club and at the highest level of nearly every industry in the world, it's cutthroat, and you make the best decision for you in that moment. And that is what Maresca is more likely to do than go, do you know what? I'm going to stick it out here and see what happens. Going to Man City is the better option for his career. Haven't Chelsea always been fluid with regards to managers? If the squad is as good as claimed, then losing Maresca would be no big deal. Haven't they built the club this way to absorb this kind of change? This is true.
But the change would be too early.
We could also upgrade on Maresca, just by the way.
Too early.
Managerial fluidity. Or dysphoria, which is it? We'll see.
The Poch one was nasty. What he was doing to the squad was nasty. I had like 7 of our best players injured every week.
Grey Wolf Dinner here says Chelsea are bigger than Man City. Why downgrade?
Kwess, didn't you just say you've got an injury problem right now as well?
I didn't say the reason he's not performing well because he's got so many injuries.
We are going to move on. We are going to move on. We're going to move on because there's lots of other topics to get through today. But Kwess, I appreciate. Listen, I like it. I like that you had something different to say today to the normal stuff. And at least you don't think like Don that you've got the second best squad in the Premier League. Kate, how do you think you're going to get on against Liverpool this weekend?
Well, you said at the start of the show that we've got no chance, so I'm kind of that. Anything could happen because this is Spurs, but I do think we'd lose. I'm going to be honest with you. I think they're too strong for us. We seem to be all over the place at the minute. Our home form, as you said, isn't great. So, I'm not feeling particularly confident. I'm not going to lie. And I saw your fact or fiction question. I don't know if you're going to read it out, what it is.
I am. Yeah, so we can go to that first. So we can do that now. I just want to ask you your thoughts. But yeah, fact or fiction, viewers, please make sure you join in with answering these as well. If Arne Slot and Liverpool beat Tottenham on Saturday, it's time for Liverpool fans to get off his back and back him fully again.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I know Tom's making a funny face, or maybe that's his face. I'm not sure. But it looks like it looks like he's disagreeing with me. But look, I think with Liverpool, they're going for a difficult patch, but I still think Slot will turn it around. I'm not sure why beating Spurs is like the benchmark of why Liverpool fans should back off, because people like Hassam constantly belittle Spurs, and yet I saw him on Straight Facts yesterday having zero chest about them beating us at all, which was bad form. But look, I do think Liverpool will beat us. I don't think it will be a trouncing, but I do think they will beat us. And I think Liverpool fans, rather than getting on this guy's back, maybe back him till the end of the season and try that way and see if that makes any difference. Because, like I say, I don't think he's become a bad manager. I think he's a victim of his own success. You know, he won you the league last year, and I think you're just going for a bit of a bad patch. So,
what you're saying, Tom? Well, someone's calling me out here. They're saying, sorry, Terry, you can't start a fact or fiction with if. Well, you can. We did. We have. Tom, if you win, you're going to get back on the slot train. That'll be, 6 games unbeaten. It'll, a couple of big results on the bounce. Would it be time to maybe drop the out agenda, even if he loses the game afterwards, and just start to support the club overall again?
It's entirely dependent on, you can look at the baseline. If we beat Tottenham, it's 6 unbeaten. But for 5 of them 6 games, we have not performed well. Oh. So there's a real chance if we perform well against Tottenham, it'll be 4 of the 6 we've not performed well. So it's still not there, and it's not a case of we can sit there now and it's just go straight back to the other side and all's fine and rosy and everything, because there's been moments like this in this season where you think you're getting over the hump, and then it gets even lower. You beat Villa, who are in really good form. You beat Real Madrid the next game. You think, there we go, he's figured it out. We're finally over the hump. And then you go and lose the next 3 games by an aggregate score of 11-1 with Nottingham Forest and PSV in there. So it would be a nice turning point. It would be maybe the sign that this setup, the diamond, with 2 strikers up top, is maybe the thing that might really get us out the hump. But I'm certainly not going to be straight away on the other side going, we're back, this is it, 100%, we're here, let's go. The man just smashing it again, because there's still things he's getting wrong in this run of games, but it's just not being as problematic as it was when we were conceding 3 to Nottingham Forest or conceding 4 to PSV. There's still mistakes happening. We've been far from perfect with and that Leeds game sticks in my head. So many poor decisions made in that Leeds game, which culminated in throwing away 2 separate leads. And look, we got the result against Brighton. I thought we played pretty all right, but Brighton still had their chances there. On another day, they might take them, and we're leaving that game with another draw. And we're looking at, it would be 2 wins in 5, and that it's a run of games where we really should have got more out of it. So it's a case of, I'm not 100% over the hump yet. I need to see us. We've got a run of games now where I expect wins in all of them, and I expect to start getting good, consistent performances. I think our next 3 games are Tottenham, Wolves, and Leeds. If we get 9 points from 9, and I'm getting good performances to win on the back, I'm going, yeah, that was a good performance. We can really sort of build off that. If we're playing like that, we can beat most teams. If I get that in at least 2 of them 3 games, then maybe I'm all the way back on it. But right now, I'm still got that uncertainty on it.
And how are you feeling about going away to Tottenham? I think they're 17th in the home table so far
yeah, we
this
should win.
season. You feel maybe are you confident you will though?
Yeah, I'd say I'm confident that we'll win because of how poor their home record is, and I feel like Thomas Frank's more set up for those away games against the big teams. I think if this was at Anfield, there'd be a bit less confidence, but I feel there's almost an obligation when you're at home to try and go out there and get the result. And I think that almost plays into our hands and not Tottenham's hands, unless he tries to play like he did when he played Chelsea, and that was another drab game which they lost, and they only had what was it, 2 shots all game. So either way he really goes at the minute, I think there's a lot of there's a lot of fans in that fan base not happy. There's a lot of distrust in the manager and the style of play, and I think that he's very set in his ways, Thomas Frank. I feel like if he's set up how he's been setting up for the past month, 2 months, we can really get something out of that game. We've got the players that can hurt teams in transition when we want to play in transition, and I think provided Kanate doesn't make a mistake in the first 10 minutes, which sets him off for the rest of the game, I'm not necessarily too worried about Tottenham going forwards in that sense. So I think in all phases we're better, and I expect a win. I expect a win against a bad Tottenham, underperforming Tottenham team, should I say.
Anton, when it comes to Liverpool, obviously we're doing a bit of a fact or fiction on the manager. Do you think it's about time that maybe more scrutiny was put on the likes of Vyats and Isak to also deliver in these types of games, as much as the system and the man, Van Dijk's had a lot of stick and Salah's had a lot of stick. Do you think it's about time that investment of £250 million is also scrutinized to the same level?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. People criticize our signings and don't give them 2 or 3 weeks, and we're talking about players on Arsenal. We're going to get to that part later, obviously, in your show. But of course I do. And I also think that recently, them having taken Mo Salah out should have given more responsibility and impetus for Wirtz and Isak to deliver. I've always kind of given them sort of that excuse in terms of, Salah is the creator-in-chief. Salah is your main goal scorer. Maybe just having him on the pitch might just kind of make it a bit awkward for Isak and Wirtz in terms of their ability to kind of just feel their importance and they're be able to take it by the scruff of the neck, because you kind of got a Salah in there. But I think the huge responsibility now is on those guys to kind of show. I saw Mo write in the chat that they are the future, and I do think they are the future. I think there's a reason why they invested that much money in those players, and I think it's time for them to deliver. Absolutely. I think as I was saying earlier, we're going to get criticism for Gyökeres, but, Isak's worth twice as much, and I'm hearing crickets. So, yeah, I think it's a big part of them, turning things around now is to actually get the best out of Wirtz and Isak, for sure.
I mean, Wirtz has been better in the past 5 games since Salah's not really been as involved. I think he looked a lot more physically able in the Premier League, especially against Brighton. He was winning a lot more of his duels, and I'm happy with the output now. Like I'd expect more, but I'm at least happy that I'm seeing improvements in his game. The Isak one is the problem with Isak is he's got a better striker in front of him at the minute on form. I can't not play Ekitike at the minute, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a case of he's not getting. He's not getting the same level of starts and the same amount of football as he was getting at Newcastle, and he had no pre-season, so he looks so off the pace when he comes on the pitch. So he needs to find a way to get them both in the team, or it's going to be a case where we're not going to get much of Isak out or much out of Isak this season, which is a bad look. This is how much you spent on him, but it might just be the matter of fact because we're insistent that he's a 6-year signing, not a 6-month signing. But it's not a good look if you record signing and you're sort of writing off for the year, because you can't get him the game time to get him the fitness.
Laura, I'm going to interject with. We're going to go back to this game. We'll touch on it, but I want to put in another fact or fiction, because it kind of come up organically in this conversation. Laura, fact or fiction? Alexander Isak is the true flop of the season. Gyokeres is only getting more attention because he plays for Arsenal.
You're on mute.
You're on mute. Sorry.
Wow. Sorry about that, everyone. I've given this quite a bit of thought, and I don't think Gyokeres is getting stick because of the Arsenal thing. Like there are lots of things that Arsenal get a lot more heat for than others. I don't think Gyokeres has delivered what we need him to at the moment. And I don't think that's because it's Arsenal and because we're all being silly about Arsenal. I think the output has not been literally the numbers. I think he's scored 4 goals on 14 appearances. I think if you watch him, it's a really, really hard watch at the moment because he is not getting enough service, but also when he does, he's getting dispossessed a lot. And where I've come down on before I give you a politician's answer is I do think Isak is the bigger flop because I think he should be readier to play in the Premier League. You can say what you want about Liverpool's system, how much they use their wingers versus how he played at Newcastle, how the team was built around him at Newcastle. That's someone who's played and excelled in the Premier League. They should be able to hit the ground running better than Gyökeres. Now, I don't think that means that Gyökeres gets off scot-free, but I do think if you're going to pay that much money for a striker, Ekitike aside, you want them to be plug and play, hit the ground running straight away. I know he's been injured, but he's still played. I think he's played one more game than Gyökeres, so he can't be using that. Or he's injured. I think he's played 14 times, 15 times appearances. It feels a bit high.
No, Isak can't play 15.
Isak hasn't. He's played 9 times.
9 times.
Yeah, he's played 9 times, started 6.
Yeah, because he's only started 6 games for us. That's
fine, but he's still played. So the idea that he's he's not had the opportunities, I think is an excuse. So I think it is Isak, but I think it's very, very close that they're both sort of suffering from the same thing, which they're not getting involved enough. I think I have more confidence, unfortunately, in Isak becoming better quicker than Gyökeres because I just think Gyökeres is taking so long to get used to playing in the Premier League. We don't have time for him to learn off the job. He needs to learn on the job and get better every single week, and it's not happening at the moment. But I think just with the price tag that Isak has brought in for, he has to be the bigger flop at the moment.
The biggest problem with that conversation for me is it kind of leaves out the biggest reason why Isak's a flop. Because we talk about how Gyokeres is a flop because he's come from a different league, but the whole point of Isak was meant to be getting the service from Wirtz, and Wirtz has been the absolute flop that hasn't provided service. Like there's been stats that have came up where Isak's been getting one touch deep into the area and stuff. He's been getting very bad crosses and any sort of shots that he's been able to actually convert. So I do think it's more than just an Isak problem. I think Arne Slot's not being able to manage to fit him in properly. It's why Slot's even talking about how he doesn't have the likes
We've
of
had a
someone
massive system
Jacob
problem
Murphy.
all season.
Yeah.
We've had a massive system problem all season.
If you think about this, right? If Liverpool had Trent, the service that Isak would be getting would be absolutely perfect for him. But he doesn't have a player like that. He doesn't have a player that's been able to get him behind the lines. It's the reason why Ekitike is so good, because he drops deeper and he takes the ball up. Whereas Isak's much more of a player that will run behind the lines and get one-on-one and score the goal as a clinical finisher, which obviously I know that because I've seen him for years. And it's the biggest issue that I see with that is he's just not having that sort of level of service. Whereas Gyokeres, I'll watch him. It was like the game the other day where the Saka put the ball across and Gyokeres was just 1 yard off the pace to be able to tap it in. And then I also thought then later on, because Martinelli went to shoot instead of passing it across. And I was thinking, I don't know if that's something that's in Martinelli's head that just thinks maybe Gyokeres isn't fast enough to get on the ball.
Well, he blasted the ball.
I don't think Martinelli thinks that much enough.
That's credit to Martinelli. He's looking at the floor.
Yeah, he's looking at the score. Where I would challenge you, Ash, is I think there have been a few occasions like that ball across the 6-yard box that I think Gyokeres should anticipate and be there for. But equally, we can't sit here and pretend that Gyokeres has had a vat of gilt-edged chances created for him either. So if Isak's being defended because the chances aren't being created, he's not had that much more. And if you want to be honest about it, Liverpool this season have created 45 big chances in the league. Arsenal have created 47. So in terms of actual creativity of real gilt-edged chances, there's very little difference between the two sides. So I'm only throwing out there for debate purposes. If your reason for defending Isak is he's not having a lot of chances created, Gyokeres is not getting an abundance more that he's scuffing and missing. And, can anyone remember him being put through 1-on-1 on goal this season in 16 games? Because I can't.
He's
Olympiacos, I think, but beyond that, I don't.
In Gyokeres or him. The one thing I would say about Isak, which has shocked me, is I think he is technically a better football player than Gyokeres. I think his touch, his skill. I can't think of many moments in games where Gyokeres has done anything where you've gone, oh, wow. Sorry, Isak hasn't done anything where you've gone, oh, wow, that looked nice. The way he took a touch last season, turned Van Dijk and stuck it into the top corner from 30-odd yards. I'm not saying he's got to score goals like that every week, but I've seen nothing to suggest that's even going to happen. If you're an alien that came down from space and watched Isak in this last 16 games that he's played for Liverpool, you would laugh your head off if somebody told you he's the most expensive striker in the history of British football. There's been he's been unrecognizable. A player I rate highly, a player that I think is brilliant. With Gyokeres, he has had some moments at least. Like, that's the one thing with Isak that I find crazy. Someone writes the word unplayable here. For 2 years, Isak was almost unplayable in the Premier League. At the moment, he's about as playable as it gets.
Do you not then put that more down to the manager? Because how I see it is Isak, because I know firsthand what Isak can do with the ball, which seeing him be a complete shadow of himself makes me normally think that that's probably a managerial fault, that he's telling him to be in a certain position, not drop down. Because like I said, the goal that he did against Everton, he took the ball from the halfway line, took on the entire team.
So maybe, but the manager may be having a slightly different way, but doesn't mean your first touch gets worse. Doesn't mean, and I had this argument, I'm a big fan of Paul Pogba. We had some poor managers. I remember there was a game once where he must have passed the ball behind his fellow teammate 4 or 5 times and it went out for throw-ins from 4 yards away. The system's not making Pogba pass badly. That's where I think we put far too much responsibility on the manager and take accountability away from a player. Because again, this happened a lot with City, with Grealish, Terry. Grealish doesn't take people on because Pep doesn't let him, but he lets every other winger. Trent didn't lose his runner defensively. Klopp tells him he doesn't have to defend, so he's ready for the counter-attack. We do these excuses all the time, and it's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. Of course, a part of it is on the system, but Isak has just been bad as well. Mm-hmm. It's, you can go again, we can do, no preseason. Gyokeres didn't have a preseason. My point is, all the excuses I hear for Isak very rarely are applied to Victor Gyokeres, who I would say is a less technically gifted football player. And I'm always tougher on the more talented player than I am the least talented player. Like school teachers, the smarter, brighter kids get in more trouble when they're naughty than the dunces. And for me, I'm not saying Gyokeres is a dunce, by the way, but there's a spectrum in that, right? I just find it so intriguing. I think there's been a lot of rightful criticism of Gyokeres. I am just flabbergasted at the lack of criticism for the most expensive signing ever who's already delivered in the league. I find it weird almost.
Terry, sorry. I think that's because that Liverpool have other problems. I think with Virgil van Dijk, they've just kind of got away with it because there's so many other talking points. Like Isak is like one of 5, to the Liverpool. Like, would you say that's the biggest?
It's an explanation for it type thing. It's an explanation for it. So you can, if I sit there and go, why is Isak being bad? But it's been a systematic problem all season that we struggle to get the ball to our forwards. Isak's averaging half the touches he got last year. Virt's averaging half the touches he got last year in their respective teams. So we're struggling to get the ball forwards more and in the dangerous position. If you look at Isak's touch map, you'd be surprised how many of them are on the wing. We didn't. If we bought 130 million quid striker to play on the wing, we're idiots. So there's more explanations with us. Whereas I think with Gyokeres, he was seen as he was the guy that was going to be. Arsenal needed this goal scorer. All Arsenal needed for the past 2 years was a guy that they could put up front and know he was a clinical goal scorer. And Arsenal still played well. Arsenal still got results, but that's not happened. And the thing with Gyokeres that's I find funny anyway is when you now talk about Gyokeres, he now gets the praise for doing what Havertz did and for doing what Jesus did. When it's all about how good his link, he was very good at link up today. He was very good at holding the ball up. But I sit there with that and go, but you didn't buy him for that. I was told he was the goal scorer. He was the guy that's going to bury the chances and win these tight games for you. And so far, I haven't seen that. And there's not as many obvious explanations as to why that's not happening for him, whereas there are explanations as to why it's not happening for Isak. I'm not. They both deserve the criticism, but the explanations are more obvious.
I like what Laura said, and I think Laura's hit the nail on the head that there's lots of other issues there. My only pushback to that isn't that you're wrong, is why the fuck haven't my players been afforded that in the last decade? Because my shit signings, when my whole club's been shit, no one ever said we'll leave Sancho alone or Pogba. I think Pogba was a very good signing, but Pogba never got left alone. Even Šeško this year's had none of our players that aren't doing well get left alone. But again, Liverpool's do. By the way, I want more of this from the media. I want more players treated like Wirtz and Isak have been treated. I just can't fathom. I don't even disagree with you, Laura. I think you are right. I think because of all the other issues, they've become secondary, like, talking points. I just wish that was done to my club. I'm speaking from a very bitter perspective. We sign like 18-year-olds, and like Lemaine's the other day. Lemaine's had more criticism for that free kick we conceded the other day than I've seen Isak get all year. And we're not fucking perfect.
This is the criticism I have from my own fan base there, Terry. And I don't know if Laura agrees. But I wish our fan base was more like Liverpool's, because I'm seeing Arsenal fans go on the attack, give me some revisionist history, how like, when Havertz comes back, he'll be the savior. Well, have we won a title with Havertz up front? Like, Jesus, he should start games. Well, if Jesus plays, a run of games starting and playing 70 to 80 to 90 minutes, he's going to end up on the injury table again. He's not ready for it.
Sorry, Anton, can I ask you and Laura both a question on this? Because I haven't watched much of it. I've seen the titles of the content. It seems like there's a little internal war in your fan base at the moment, which is some saying Gyokeres just isn't good enough and he needs to improve. Others saying, no, he is good enough. Arteta has ruined him.
Well, that's the internal war that's been going on at Arsenal for a long time. I'll let Laura come in after this. But I think that's the internal war that's been going on for a long time. Have you noticed that the people who are for more critical of Gyökeres are actually the ones who back and defend the manager, the Arteta inners, so to speak? Because the Arteta outers are all saying, well, you had Aubameyang, you couldn't get the best out of him. You had Lacazette, couldn't get the best out of him. Like Arteta doesn't know how to manage strikers. And so Arteta inners are trying to get on the front foot, try to get ahead of that and be like, oh no, Gyökeres is just not good enough. That way that the manager kind of doesn't get the blame on this. So I do kind of feel like it's the same internal battle that's been going on at Arsenal for years. I don't know what Laura thinks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there is there are sort of two ends of the spectrum. There's people like, as Tom, you said, people kind of going out of their way to praise his off the ball work. That was fine for the first couple of games, even where it clearly wasn't working, but you could look at other positives. I think you'd be hard pressed to find an Arsenal fan now who's like, yeah, that's absolutely great. We love what you're doing. It takes the defenders away from Saka, blah, blah, blah. But it's not on Arteta. He's not the one on the pitch that, like, Gyökeres is not a particularly technical player. And I think he really suffers in the Premier League because he gets so much less time on the ball, so that he's just closed down. He's not technical enough to shift the ball out from his feet and actually make the most of a half chance. But I just think it needs a little bit of patience. Again, like I hate to say it, but we are still a few months into the season. I think we were probably all a bit deluded to think that he would slot straight in the way that I think we thought a striker would, because we've played for 2 seasons without a striker. And so the idea that the rest of the team can just go from naught to trying to find his runs when he's already not making the most brilliant movement is really difficult. So I don't know. I'm on the let's just be patient and kind of get behind him. But I think at the moment, general consensus is that what the output is nowhere near good enough, and we can't keep going. Yeah, but he works really hard off the ball. Like that's I think we have.
But at the same time, I think you just got to give him time. I think long term, Laura, like we need to let Gyökeres kind of get a long run of games with, like, I would say his first choice attackers, getting more time with Saka. I think somehow him and Saka need to be together like glue on the pitch and create understanding with each other. And I would say the same with any of the left-hand side players, whoever you want to play up there, whether it be Trossard or Eze or Martinelli, and especially with Odegaard. I think they just need to kind of work together on, what are each other's strengths. And Gyökeres also kind of have to figure out, like, as a striker, at times where he can set up the others as well in good positions. I think it's a work in progress. But one thing I'd say is, if anybody thinks that Gyökeres, this is the part that drives me nuts, is that the Gyökeres is some sort of technically amazing footballer. We thought so, and all of a sudden he's clunky in the ball and his touch is loose, that it's all of a sudden new information. We all knew that. Like if you actually follow this player, you would know that all his thing is putting the ball in the back of net. And I just feel like the chances that we had the chances that we had in past seasons, where I'm like, oh man, if only had a gunman at the end of that, we'd be 1-0 up here. But those chances aren't coming now with him on the pitch.
But why aren't they coming?
I think it's bizarre. Like,
yeah, but Anton, he's on.
Question.
He's on to get the same goal output as what the likes of Kai Havertz got last year. Like, you need to be able to understand it's a performance-based game. If, say, Jesus or Kai Havertz comes back in, and if they get a goal, then of course you've got to play either Jesus or Kai Havertz over him.
For me, we're going backwards in that respect. Look, we've been crying out for a striker, and we needed this striker to come in. Give him at least a season to just get used to playing with his teammates, get used to playing with this league, like adjusting. He needs to make his own adjustments. At a certain point, he needs to realize, okay, well, I'm not getting the same space I am now. What can I do myself better to create those chances for myself or get into the right positions?
So,
but at the same time, at the end of the day, I'm seeing like Martinelli and Trossard, they create space for themselves. They're not creating space to be able to get play in for the striker. Saka does it himself.
I'll be honest with you, Anton. I think there's an element of truth in what you say, but I did this for a while with Rasmus Højlund, who I don't think's as good, but as Gyökeres even. But there's this element of, why aren't we creating chances? Why are we not creating chances? They're not finding him. They're not finding him. Maybe it's the movement isn't right. So, for instance, when you watch Gyökeres, and I went back and watched a lot of footage the last few days of him, he's often... there are times where he drops off a little bit, or he moves to a position and then the ball never finds its way to him. But then when you look to get the ball to him in that position, he's got to get through like 3 or 4 players, where maybe a run to the near post would have been better. And maybe the movement from him isn't good enough. Therefore, he's not being found. Where with Haaland, yes, City have great passes of the ball that find him. But there is also that element of, and you should know this being a Gooner, it's one of for me, Ian Wright's best attribute was he just knew where to be, and his movement was so great that he'd be found easy. But that's because he just read the game in a different way and he knew where to stand. Maybe there's an element here of Gyökeres running into the wrong areas that make it harder to be found as well. That's got to be a consideration within this.
Yeah, that's why you look at the film and you review. I think there definitely needs to be part of Gyökeres that needs to, improve himself. He needs to look himself in the mirror. He needs to study and figure out how he can better fit into this team or better improve his game. I think that's all a part of it. Now, that's why I'm not going to write him off, because I think people saying, oh, well, he's not going to be the answer. He's never going to be a fit into our Arteta system. Like, for me...
Yeah, like Laura said that, yeah.
No, but for me, like, you don't buy a player just willy-nilly. We'd be like, okay, his strengths are this, but we're going to completely ignore that. I think that's coming down the pipeline at some point. One thing you need to remember is that he was actually starting to, fit into this team. That the first half against Burnley. At that point, by the way, he had 3 goals in 3 matches. He also had like 2 games this season where he scored a brace. Like Isak, by the way, has 1 goal in the Prem all season. So I don't even think that you could even compare. Like Gyökeres has got 4 times the amount of goals.
Isak's 1 goal was better than all of Gyökeres's.
Whatever.
Gyökeres scored one with his penis. That's amazing. Like you can't ignore the Gyökeres goal.
I would say the goal is Gyökeres' first goal against Leeds, where he takes the ball out from the left wing.
Kate's a Spurs fan, and she watched it 62 times. I heard. So it's.
That makes me like Richie gets more stick. Richarlison gets so much stick, and he scored more than Isak and Gyokeres.
Yeah,
Just saying.
Richarlison's
I
very
just think-
easy to hate, though. Richarlison's very easy to hate.
He's got
Yeah,
a
but
very
he's still
hateable
scores
face. He's got a very, very dislikable
Yeah.
face. Although,
Yeah,
I'll tell you
I
what,
like
when he
him,
took
but-
his top off and then the goal went afterwards, I have never been so happy at something in my life. That was the funniest thing ever.
He
That
took his
was-
shirt off and cried, and then Delit equalised. Beautiful,
That was
man.
the funniest thing I've
It's
ever
the fact
seen.
he's done. By the way, it's the fact he's done. That's happened to him multiple times. It's happened to
Multiple
us as well.
times.
That Liverpool
crazy.
game, he
He
got the
tempts fate.
equaliser, done the chicken dance with his shirt off, and then the late, brilliant. It was Jota, wasn't it? Went and
Yeah.
scored from the kick-off. That was painful for me as a
It
United
was
fan.
how cinematic it was. The camera cut straight to Richarlison the moment that goal was in. Oh, it was perfect.
It was great. Just before we go on to speak a bit more about the games this weekend, in terms of Spurs, Liverpool, I just want to go around the table, the digital table. Ash, how do you think the game's going to end up? Who do you think wins that game on Saturday evening?
God, I actually think Liverpool's going to win. I think Liverpool's going to win 2-1. It's just because Spurs' home form's been too bad, and I think Liverpool is starting to actually kind of get a bit back into its ways. I think it's going to be more of an Ekitike show, if more than anything, because he's looked really much on it. Like the game that he played the other day, he looks absolutely sensational. I think it was his best game that he played for Liverpool, to be honest. And that's the only thing that I can see being interesting, especially since Salah's now going to be going. That may be one less thing that will be a talking point, and Liverpool can kind of just focus on themselves. Doesn't mean Spurs can't get a result, because it could potentially happen, but I personally think Liverpool will just find enough to win at this game, and it'll be Ekitike.
Kwess, how about yourself?
I want to say 3-2 Spurs. I think this fixture's always had a lot of goals. So I just think going back home, I actually think that it's not impossible for Spurs to sort of like go up to have Liverpool come back into the game and then nick one late. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's 3-2 Spurs. If it's a draw, I also wouldn't be surprised. But I'd probably go, if one team's got to win it, I'd probably lean towards Spurs.
Anton?
Yeah, I think playing Tottenham is the perfect tonic for Liverpool. I actually think that this is the game where everything all of a sudden looks better on paper. Like it looks, well, not even on paper, on the pitch, I should say. I actually think I'll be a strong 3 or 4-0 to Liverpool. I remember when we played Spurs and we had all the space in the world. That was the game where Eze absolutely just was picking up pockets of space and getting into the box and scoring whenever he wanted to. I think that this is the perfect game. I actually think for Isak to finally look like himself. I think 3 or 4-0.
Laura?
I think this is going to be a high-scoring, chaotic draw. I'm thinking literally like the Man United Bournemouth one the other night. I think it potentially will turn on a couple of mistakes, defensive mistakes. But yeah, I think maybe a 2-2.
Timothy?
We should win quite comfortably. I've just had to look at Tottenham's form there. They have 1 win in their last 7 Premier League games. We should be winning this game. I know that our form isn't exactly, amazing, but it's better than 1 win in 7. I think we're on like 2 wins in 7, so we should be winning this game. I also think we should try and get a clean sheet, because we got one against Brighton, and I think it does the world of good for confidence. So I'm going to go 2-0. No, 3-0.
Oh. And Kate, aka Jimbo's bit.
Oh, bloody hell, he's bit. It's been a long time for me to just be his bit. Bloody hell. I don't think you'll keep a clean sheet, but I do think you'll win. So I am going to go 4-2 to Liverpool. Loads of goals.
Guys, you're all tempting fate. It's going to be a stinky 0-0 at this point, isn't it?
Could be, innit? It could be.
Yeah, I'm going 1-0 Tottenham.
Go on.
1-0 Tottenham. I'm trying to hope that. I want Spurs to win the game.
90-minute goal from Richarlison. His top comes off.
Top comes off. He cries. He gets the win.
Yeah. We've just established what happens when he does that, so it can't be 1-0 if it's Richarlison scoring in the last minute. We will equalise.
You'll just see Thomas Frank shouting at him, "Don't take your top off."
This super chat here says that is Thomas Frank doing a better job than Ange with all the money spent in the summer, and if Liverpool beat them, they could be 15th. Jesus, with teams like Brentford and Fulham jumping above them. Dead man walking, in my opinion, is what Zane says.
The funny thing is, if you look at last season, we're actually a point worse off than we were under Ange Postecoglou, which is terrifying because I do kind of think he is a bit of a dead man walking as well.
It could be. This here says that Gyokeres is in a lose-lose situation. Saka sometimes cuts in and shoots, and the one time he crosses the ball, Gyokeres got slack for it. Haaland knows where the ball will be put. That's fair. Again, I think it's a balance in those conversations. Šeško deserves credit for that Cunha goal Monday. Yeah, he put a decent ball across. It was cut out, but it couldn't be fully clear because it was a good ball. And Cunha goes through to score. I'm just saying we couldn't see it out. It made me want to cry. That game did. Every time I think about it, I see darkness. My old friend. Gyökeres is bad in a good Arsenal team versus Isak is bad. In a bad Liverpool team. Do you know what I want from this then? That I need us to go back and rethink all these Player of the Year awards, because I just think Bruno Fernandes has been so underappreciated. He's been very good in a bad United team. So how good does that make him with this logic? We've got to remember, this is what I keep saying to people, don't pick and choose your logic to win little battles. Think about it larger. You are making Bruno a bigger legend than you might want him to be. Excellent and consistent in a bad and ever decreasingly poor United team. How much better does that make him than the so-called players of the year that did well in good teams? Let me know. Think about your logic.
But Terry, sorry, just interrupt you on that one. I know we've spoken about how easy it is to hate Richarlison. Bruno Fernandes, very, very, very easy to hate.
Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, and Richarlison. They're the three.
I understand. I was saying this
and
the
Joe
other
Linton.
Day. Bruno Fernandes had the looks of David Beckham. The way people perceive Bruno Fernandes would be he doesn't have any prettily privilege, because he does look. I love Bruno, but he does look like Splinter from the Turtles. Like he does.
He also behaves like a twat.
That's crazy.
It's not just how he looks. He's a bit of a twat as well.
Yeah, he's a bitch.
I don't think that's where I do defend him. I don't think he moans more than your average bear. The issue is that I think it's highlighted. So because he does it, you sort of focus on it as an example, and I don't think he does. I think he moans as much as any other football player. It's just every time he does, Gary Neville moans about it. But again, if he looked like David Beckham and he moaned, the reaction from a lot of people be, I know he's moaning, but isn't it cute? And because he hasn't got that, do you know what I mean? He doesn't have that pretty privilege about him. It's like, look, Beckham got away with a lot because of how he looked. I'm just saying.
Rice is moaning all the time, but nobody notices.
That's true. And Calfiore can do whatever he wants.
No, I've seen your videos, you and your bae. I've seen it.
Calfiore is Italian, so he just, they'd be like, oh, he's got that Italian blood in here and fire.
Well, I think Bruno said something about him and Bernardo Silva the other day when he did that interview that he did on international duty, and he basically said that Bernardo moans more than I do. He just does it in a more politically correct way. I wave my hands and he doesn't, but people don't realize he shouts and screams and moans twice as much as I do. And I do think there's an element of truth in that, but I do get why people don't like Bruno on a real level. I do get it. It's not Wirtz or Isak who aren't delivering. It's Slot who flops and can't deliver. He is not the manager we believe he is after last season, which is fine, but it means we've now got, do we now go back and retract all the things we said about United's flops in the last decade? Because none of our managers worked either, did they? You see my point I'm making here is how suddenly there's a reasoning for players to flop, and it's the manager. No one gave that to my players who were slagged off.
All of the above, I'd say, Terry. Like, it's not always one person is to blame. Like, they all need to share the blame in some respect.
Yeah, they all need to share it, but I think I think the manager has been one of the bigger problems for us this season.
I've got a super chat here that I don't understand that says, why is Tom wearing Laura's hair on his chin? Is it? Oh, you got a ginger beard? Is that what's being said?
I don't know.
How do you not know what color your beard is?
If anything,
it's not something I really got to look at.
It's very weird. You don't go. You're not going through her bins in her bathroom, are you? Sticking it on your face. Like, nothing weird like that. No. All right, good. That'd be very strange. That'd be very strange.
That went in a weird direction.
Yeah, would not be best
expected
pleased.
to go.
What is this Scouser doing in our bins again? Oh, he's after my hair.
Careful, Gary. You're very, very close to a very, very appropriate joke with that one.
Fuck's sake.
Oh my god!
He just went the long way around calling me a bin dipper there.
Yes, exactly.
That's no, but I'm allowed to do that. We'd established this before. I'm from a Povo background. Because I'm a Povo, I can mock Povos. I think that's the rules in, like, women can take the mick out of women, you know what I mean, and things like that. So yeah, I am a Povo. So big up to the Povo crew out there. So, but you are right, Laura. People are mad for that stuff now. So refreshing to hear balanced takes from Anton. Perhaps it's the presence of Mrs. Calafiori on the panel, eh?
No comments.
I wish.
No, do you know what? He's
a
so
beautiful
nice.
man, to be honest. He's a beautiful man.
It's been so nice hearing the downfall of Anton recently, from saying that he's going to be what he said he was going to be doing, teaching a lesson to Villa, and then what's come since then, it's just been, do you know what? It's just been
of all the things I've said, that's the thing that you point out.
Yeah,
Did I not say I would buy every Arsenal fan in our group chat a winner's medal, and we'll all wear it all summer?
saying the FA Cup and the EFL doesn't even move the needle.
Yeah, he basically said the league's already done. We've already won the league 8 games in. I remember you, Anton, all that chest you had. Now you got 2 backs.
I mean, no, I don't got 2 backs, because I still think that we're winning the Premier League, and I'm not changing my mind. At the moment, we're having a bit of a bit of a twist, getting a little bit tight. But I still think that we're gonna win.
Okay,
I still think we're gonna pull it out.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see. Moving on, we're going to come back to a bit of Arsenal in a minute. We've got a question about Semenyo that we're going to do later in the show. But back to a little bit of Chelsea. Kwess, my old mate. Fact or fiction? Newcastle will have too much for Chelsea at St James's Park this Saturday lunchtime.
I've got to say fiction. I think saying too much is crazy. This feels like, that's just crazy. Too much is far too crazy. Do I think it'll be a good game? Yeah. Do I think they've got a great squad? Yeah. Do I think it'll be a tough trip up there? Yeah. Do I think we win? Probably. So, fiction. And I think actually it's a bit unfortunate for them. They got like quite a few injuries. Like, I know, was it Dan Burn got injured recently?
He got punctured lung.
Yeah, it's insane, like, crazy, terrible injury. And then obviously we're yet to see if Thingy's going to be fit for Saturday as well. Livramento, yeah. And actually, like, I think I've watched the last 2 Newcastle games. Defensively, Lewis Hall has not looked great as well. So that back line is suffering a little bit. I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I'm not going to say we're going to go out there and smash them, because historically St James's Park is a very, very difficult place to go for any team at any point in the season. But I do think we beat them. So yeah, it's fiction for me. Yeah.
How do you see this one going, Ash? As a well, you're not a Geordie. You don't sound like a Geordie, but you pretend to be a Geordie. You never see me.
Still born in Newcastle.
You'd never see me. Like, oh yeah, we're similar like that. I weren't born in Manchester. My mum liked Coronation Street though, but yeah, same thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was born in Newcastle. That's the difference.
Yeah.
You're not from Newcastle.
I was born in the RVI.
Like Aaron Ramsdale,
born in the RVI. I can't help my parents moved to Sheffield when I was 5. You can blame them for that.
Just lies. But anyway, back to you, you true Geordie. How do you think you're going to get on? Because your home form has been so much better. You know, your away form has been very, very poor this year. But at home, you've typically been a different beast. How do you think you'll get on against the might of the world champions this Saturday lunchtime?
Okay, it's going to be a good game, but if you asked me the other week, I'd have been a lot more confident than what I am at the moment. Like, we had to play the likes of Lewis Miley at right back the other day in the Carabao Cup, which he is not a right back, and he ended up scoring the goal. Livramento, it's unsure how his injury is. Lewis Hall was left out because he had a bit of a hamstring niggle again. These problems keep on seeming to coming back up, but it's looking like Lewis Hall might be okay for the Chelsea game, be against his previous club. I'm sure he'll have a bit of a point to prove. But look, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I do think we'll win. but I do think I could see Chelsea also getting some points out of this. It's not going to be an easy game for either of us. I think Wissa is going to be pretty valuable. He got his first goal, first start, scored 10 minutes.
Top player, man.
Yeah, so I think we'll win, but
Average.
I'm also not completely got my chest about this. But I'll say 3-1, but I'm not 100% sure of that.
3-1.
3-1 is pretty chesty.
Hang on, you got no chest, but you're saying 3-1.
Listen, I also said 7-0 against Sunderland, but I still wasn't confident on saying
What
that either.
Oh, so you're just saying things.
Man said 7 and they gave him 0.
Listen,
we know you're just saying things.
I'm trying to talk it into reality.
In you don't mean it, do you?
Manifestation.
Stuttering there, he is.
I'm
He's
manifesting.
loading.
Ash, you might need to start talking
Buffering.
Baltimore to putting it in the right goal. Maybe then you can,
True.
I told you, Tom.
That Oh,
I've told you he's colourblind. He thought that was a black and white shirt that crossed it to him. I'm not taking out on him. That was a great goal.
he
2
meant
minutes
it.
Before that, we were shooting that way.
I'm telling you now, it's going to come out in an autobiography. He got confused. He went for goal. I am absolutely convinced he went for goal still. I loved it. It was a great finish. But yeah, I think I'm going with Chelsea win. I think Chelsea are going to smash him. Maresca's now got something to prove because he wants that City job. So he's going to be doing his absolute best work. He's going to prove to the hierarchy that he's the man to take over Man City. And
wait, Terry, did you just say we're world champions?
You
So
are
why
world
would he
champions.
why would he take a step down in his career? That don't make sense. Unless we truly don't believe we're world champions.
No, you're back here again.
Do you?
No, I just wanted to make sure, Terry.
Do you think you're a bigger club than Man City?
Historically.
Club. Are we a bigger club? I'd probably say, yeah, we're probably a bigger club than
I think City. Yeah, no, we say historically. I think City have more trophies now, don't they?
No, I think we're the most successful team of the last decade.
Yeah, but the decade ain't history, is it? It ain't forever, ever.
No,
Most
but
trophies won by
come on.
English clubs. Let's have a little look here.
Let's just go
I
Premier
think
League
the
era.
amount of trophies that City win are irrelevant. when
we
it comes to this
don't need to
conversation.
debate it. We can just look at that's
just
30.
Premier
Hang
League
on,
era.
hang on. 36 each. It's 36 each.
Okay.
36 trophies. So the way it works in England, Liverpool currently top on 70, followed by Man United on 68, followed by Arsenal on 49, and then Chelsea and City both sit on 36 each. Then Tottenham on 27, then Aston Villa on 25.
Yeah, you don't
Chelsea
need
have
to
a
keep
bigger
scrolling.
global fan base. So I'd say that
Newcastle
Chelsea will
come
be-
in.
You don't need to keep scrolling. Don't worry
Newcastle
about
got 15. God bless them. 15 trophies there.
That's more than I thought they did.
Yeah, I mean, right now in recent history, they're definitely like the biggest club in England, I would say for sure. But I think, yeah. Anyway, not to go on back on the Maresca thing, just on the Newcastle thing. I think I think this is like a really, really important game for both clubs because I think this is like I think this is a real marker for the push for the top four. And I think if Chelsea win this game, I think it says a lot about the momentum we would, I think, take into the rest of January. So I actually think this is like a really, really, really big game for Chelsea. And I do expect them to turn up because I think our form has been a lot better in recent weeks. And I said it would be even after we went through that run of 5 games where I think we didn't win. So I expect a really good game. I expect a good performance out of the boys. And to be honest, I do expect, like I say, 3 points when we go there. But it's going to be tough, like St. James's Park, man. So yeah, we'll see. And hopefully we do win because I do want to finally prove to Ash my point. A lot earlier in the season where I said we're clear of Newcastle because I don't think I told a lie when I said that. So
Still bollocks.
Caicedo back this week, right?
Caicedo's back, yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
Listen,
By the way,
listen, there's a reason why Joe Linton's not been playing recently is because we've had him boot camps at Sunday leagues. So listen, he's going to be coming on for that, and you better be ready.
Caicedo versus Joe Linton, that's hey, that's the army off right there.
You don't
boy.
think Newcastle were better than Chelsea? You didn't say that in the summer, did you?
No, what I said was Chelsea and Newcastle were on the very similar level at the end of last season. So Kwess said that Chelsea are clear of Newcastle. So I said that would mean that you are then challenging for titles, which I don't think you are. I think Chelsea and Newcastle are at a similar level behind the likes of Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal. I think we're just a bit below where they were from the end of last season. And if you're saying that you're then clear of us, that would then insinuate that you're title contenders and you're not. Like, there's a reason why you only just finished above us last season.
No, I don't think it's anything to do with who we're closer to in terms of who's above us. I just think as a club and as a team, I think we are clear of you because we've also achieved more. So I just look at that and go, yeah, like I said, we're clear.
I value Newcastle's Carabao Cup more than your Brazilian tournament that you've won in the summer.
I mean,
the
the run that we had to do was
Well,
arguably one of the most difficult.
yeah, I mean, we're still the only English team in the last year to beat PSG, but I understand it's because they were tired.
we
It's a
beat
one-off
them.
game.
We
were
beat
in
them last
Brazil.
season 1-0.
Arsenal beat them
Oh,
last
did
year
you?
didn't they, as well.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Arsenal
I must have missed it.
We beat them 3-0 at home.
3-0.
Oh, okay. Oh, so everyone got one. Oh, so they were easy, and then we did nothing. We achieved nothing.
Did Aston Villa beat them in their home
Almost.
leg? I think they might have done.
Yes.
They might have won on the
Aston
night
Villa
as
beat
well.
them.
Yeah,
Every
they
single
did.
Wait,
English
so
team
no one
beat
beat
at
them
point.
across 2 legs though. Yeah, no one beat them across 2 legs. So you didn't get the job done.
You didn't play them across 2 legs.
Yeah, you played them
No,
one time.
I'm just saying you didn't get the job done though, innit?
You played
And
them
you
in.
The job was to
New
beat them.
York.
And do you know what
You
happened the
didn't
season
play
before?
them in
We
Newcastle.
in the season before we slapped them 4-1 at St James's Park. So you know what? I don't.
Everyone got their
Yeah.
joy out of PSG with
Go back 7 years ago. We knocked them out at their own ground with kids. So how far back we going here? Like it's
It all counts.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we just beat them in the final, so I just think that's bigger than beating them across 2 legs. So that's
I
my
agree.
thing.
I agree.
So
I agree.
man.
We were just fact checking you on the claim that no other English team beat them.
Yeah, that was erroneous. That was erroneous. But again, I just love, when he talks about bigger clubs, that's why I loved Terry, because whenever we talk about this tournament, I mean, this concept of like who's bigger, who's not bigger, I think the thing that always gets pushed back to me is, we're not, or players, we talk about legacy. We don't want to talk about legacy. So I'm just glad you spoke about trophies, because sometimes it's why I think I don't.
Trophy's part of it, right? But if your manager quits for the City job, is that not some tangible proof of them being bigger?
No, I wouldn't say it's tangible truth of tangible evidence of them being bigger, because I also think you can be in a bad moment, and we're clearly in one of our worst moments. So I think City are evidently in one of their best moments as a club, right? That's so fair enough. If the opportunity presents itself,
If
say again?
Pep went the other way, I found that really.
Oh,
funny.
see now, if Pep came this way, wow, I would forget Maresca's name tomorrow.
Can I ask? Would you say if a manager went to manage the likes of, say, Messi at a club that have recently, say, won Champions League or league titles or whatever, would you say that is a bad step to do that? Because how I see Haaland at the level of someone like that. So if you're going to manage someone that is potentially one of the best centre forwards that we've seen of this generation, I would always commend that and say that is a smart move to do.
No, he should stay because he has loyalty to Liam Delap.
Okay.
True. I mean, he had him 4 or 5 years ago.
My thing is this, is just you are a part of something that you've helped build and you're starting it. You've not finished that work yet. So I truly cannot see the reason why you would want to jump ship this early.
But you have just given a reason though, because if Pep suddenly was available, you'd fuck him off tomorrow, and so would your board.
Yeah, but Pep's a better manager.
Yes, but then this is why if I'm the agent of a manager, I'm saying forget loyalty, because if Chelsea suddenly get a better option, well, Chelsea's loyalty should be to one person, one entity solely, Chelsea Football Club. And it's like Roy Keane does this thing where he speaks about how disloyal Fergie was because of the way he got rid of certain players like him. I'm like, no, he wasn't disloyal. He was disloyal to you. He was loyal to Man United because it was the right thing for Man United. And I think that's the difference in this. But I just think it's an interesting one to imagine if you think about the size here. I think Chelsea are a big club, by the way, not slagging them off. But if he was to leave Chelsea to become the City manager, that is an indication of at least who he thinks the best is right now, at the very least in that conversation.
Hey, I mean, whichever club he's at, they're going to be getting a points deduction, whether it's Chelsea or Man City at this point. So who cares?
They could be points deductions. Laura, fact or fiction? A move for Semenyo to either Arsenal or Man City would tip the title race in their favour.
I don't think that would be the deciding factor, because I don't think. I'm not sure where he. I assume he's going to play on the left for Arsenal if he came to us. I don't think he would make that big of a difference at Arsenal. And I'm not saying that he's not an incredible player. I think our problems are wider than that. I don't think he's going to tip the line over it. If City get him, City have Haaland already. And I think in the current vein of his scoring record at the moment, that's the problem. That's what's going to tip the title race over. I don't think adding Semenyo to Arsenal's squad is going to suddenly make them get this over the line. It will be a nice addition, but I think we're also already quite stacked in that area. Now, do I think he's a massive upgrade on Trossard, Martinelli, etc.? Probably yes, but Trossard is making a kind of renaissance this season. He scored some very important goals to us. I don't think that's going to be the. I would love to have him. This is not me saying no, thank you. It's me saying I don't think that's going to be the deciding factor.
I think that's crazy, by the way. I think that's insane.
Do you think Semenyo will win Arsenal the title?
No.
What I'm saying is, I think it's insane that you don't think it would move the needle for you. As in, you don't think that Semenyo is a clear improvement on Trossard and Martinelli. That by the way, and also,
if that was our problem, but that's not our problem. We're just stacking the edge of our midfield with more similar players. That's not like, I think, if I'm honest, I think we need more out of Eze. I think we need more out of Martinelli, even Odegaard. Adding in Semenyo is just kind of adding into that trail of people on that side of the pitch. I don't think that's the issue.
You already got so many options there. We would be so congested. Like who's losing out? Like,
how are you fitting all these players in the dressing room, by the way?
That's what exactly my point, right?
Remember, this accusation was made at Chelsea the other day. I'm going, if you add two more, you might have no space. Like,
yes, I think he is a fantastic, like such a talent. I just don't think that's going to move the needle for Arsenal.
But do you not think him being like in that? Where is he at now? How many goals he got now? Was it like 7 or 8 goals or something?
7 goals.
Look at his recent form, though. I think that's all from really early on the season. I think recently, I think his form has got like 1 goal in 6 or 7 or something like that.
I would say
it's 1 goal in 11. He's got 1 goal in the last 11 games.
I would say he's still far more of a dangerous winger than your Martinelli is. Trossard, fair, like he's turning it on, and Trossard can turn it on.
Isn't Martinelli our top goal scorer in the Champions League? Has got 5 in the UCL.
Yeah, but I think you know that if you had to rely on Martinelli to win you something when it mattered, he wouldn't.
But I'm not sure Semenyo would fit into our would hit the ground running as much as I think people think he would, because he's playing for Bournemouth at the moment. We are likely to face a low block every single time. Fair enough, that's how people stop Arsenal. I think he's going to have the same problem that I think Eze has, which is he's come from a side where that Crystal Palace are likely to have more space, etc. Whereas at Arsenal, he's a kind of moments man. Semenyo, I think, would face exactly the same problem, which is when we're facing a kind of dirty low block, which is absolutely fair. I think he'll have the same problem as Martinelli. Now, he'll probably be able to overcome it slightly better, but I think it's a massive reach to say that's what would move the dial. I really do.
I wasn't saying that it will confidently move the dial, but I think if you have someone like Semenyo, who's definitely going to get you goals in that Arsenal system, when you're going to be more dominant with the ball, he's going to get more chances because Arteta's system favors the wingers. I think absolutely he's going to have more chances, therefore get more goals. So I think that would edge you slightly ahead of City. My thing I just don't get is like, if Eze goes there and it doesn't work out, Gyokeres has gone there and it's not necessarily working out, and you don't think Semenyo would work out, I'm going like, is Arsenal not just now becoming a place where good players go to die? Like, I don't understand.
No.
I'm asking a question.
It's completely legit, but those are all, I think that there are different flavors of failure and there are different ways that each player is struggling. Like, I don't think you can say they're all going to Arsenal and this is what's happening. I think the reason Gyokeres is struggling is what we've previously talked about. I think the reason Eze is, I don't even think he's struggling. I just think we have maybe expected a different player than what we're getting. I think he's still a fantastic player, but it's also we talk about Isak in the system. Well, Arsenal also have had to adjust to playing with a striker. That's the system as well. So I think a lot of other teams have got away with, we've changed the system. The same is true of Arsenal. And I think the idea that I think Semenyo probably would be an upgrade on Martinelli and Trossard. But I don't think he would be as effective as he is at Bournemouth. I think you're picking up and you're moving him into a team that plays totally differently. The only reason that I would like Arsenal to get him is so that City don't, because that's the only reason that Arsenal are not.
Do you think it would move the needle for City then?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're. He would play on the right. He would play. I don't know what kind of Doku and that.
He'd go left because I think Doku's injured right now. Yeah, so.
But I don't think. For me, the things that move the needle for City are Haaland. If Haaland carries on scoring and Foden decides that he's got another vendetta against Arsenal and he's suddenly coming into form to, stop Arsenal winning. I don't really know what Oscar Bob's relationship with Pep is like at the moment. So whether there's something there, but I don't know.
Oscar Bob hasn't really looked the same.
Did Oscar Bob go off injured as well yesterday? Did he go?
Yeah, he's injured.
He came off early. I didn't watch the game, but
he's injured.
Do you know what I find
interesting
about?
The same, though.
Do you know what I find interesting about this deal is that Arsenal, some of the big transfer journalists are kind of writing Arsenal off by talking about they've got an interest, but it would be more for the summer. But yet there's always that underlying line of, but they could be tempted if he was going to move somewhere else. City really want him. United have now completely thrown their hat into the mix. I really like him and I'd love us to go and get him. But the reasons that you're all kind of giving, that does he fit in straight away? Is exactly what you need? Does he play over City's first team players? Be honest with you, these are all the things I want us as a football club, as in Man United, to be selling to him and his agent to say, because I think we might start morphing more into 4-3-3, whether that's in possession we go into that formation, or we start using 4 at the back a little more regularly, like we did the other night. And I think we need someone like him. I know Cunha can go out there, but we don't have a left-sided winger. We have none at the football club. Absolutely none play for Man United. They've all been sold. So I'd love us to go and get him because I think he's brilliant. And I don't think we need that. There is slightly less pressure coming to Man United in the sense of, I think if you do move to a City or an Arsenal in January for 65 million, you've kind of got to help them deliver the title. Otherwise, it's looked at as, why did you move at that point? I'd love him at United, but I also, if I take my United hat off, I actually do think he could be a needle mover. But the one thing, as I see, is a problem for Arsenal is, I swear in the summer, Trossard nearly left. If I'm not mistaken, there was a deal agreed with a club and it fell through. And there was talk of Martinelli and Saudi, I think. Maybe I'm misremembering.
Well, no, you're bang on.
Okay. But they both actually had quite good seasons. And there is this this is what I think might go through Arsenal's head. We kind of want Semenyo. It was more of a summer move. We might be forced into buying him now because other teams want him. But actually the position he plays in, they're all doing really, really well. So it's this element of, you might upset the apple cart. Imagine Semenyo comes in, you sell one of those guys that you're going to sell in the summer when they're playing well, and Semenyo doesn't click straight away, and you've got rid of a Trossard, for instance, who's playing. There is that catch-22 in this, I think, for Arsenal, because actually Martinelli, you're right, in the Champions League, the man's on fire. And sometimes you have players that have seasons in a cup competition where they just play well in it, and it's that element of, do you really want to upset any of that? That's the difficult part. For City, be honest with you, with Semenyo, I think when they're fully fit, you've got Cherky and Foden playing on the right-hand side now, like the sort of the kind of both occupying those areas. Doku, when he's fit, starting on the left. I don't know if he gets into the starting 11. That being said, both your clubs are more attractive than Man United. I do understand that from where you sit in the hierarchy right now, but I find this deal so interesting because it's going to happen quickly as well. I actually think Liverpool have got a great chance. I think Liverpool got a great chance.
I hope not. I hope we're not throwing our hat in the ring for it. I think we need to move away from that sort of idea. Because I don't want us to play with wingers. I think
Mo Salah, your best winger, your best player in your history. You know what,
because Mohamed Salah can play up front. I don't think Semenyo can play up front.
I think that's your problem, though, Tom. I think Semenyo is going to be your replacement for Salah. I think you get Salah.
Yeah, and that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. I'm replacing Mohamed Salah with Antoine
This
Semenyo.
is why I wish some Arsenal fans are more like Liverpool.
Salah's legs are gone, though.
Yeah, but
Southampton have a great
yeah,
start.
hang on a minute. That was always going to happen. There is no replacement for Mo Salah. You can't do like for like. I think what you did is put but no. You have to buy someone who plays his position. You just can't go like for like. Man United tried finding someone that was like Roy Keane. It didn't work. What we eventually did that did work is we went for Michael Carrick, who's a completely different type of player, but plays in that position. You have already replaced Salah, and that was £250 million being spent on Vyerts and Isak. Your right winger replacement was never going to be, in my opinion, of that ilk. Because even if you went out and bought Elise, you'd go, right, that's the replacement. The pressure to replace your greatest ever player, I sometimes think going like for like, same role, same pressure, loads of money, I think it can be a poison chalice at times.
But the point with us is, I agree with you. The replacement for Salah is supposed to be Isak and Vyerts. But we've also got an 80 million quid striker who's been the best out of the 3 signings that we've made this season, who also needs to play. So I need to play 2 strikers and a 10. I also then can't have wingers either side. So if I'm buying Semenyo,
Isak, Semenyo, and Vyerts behind,
and then who's on the left?
Ekitike.
I'm not playing Ekitike on the left wing. He's been our best striker.
You put him somewhere.
I'd sooner stick with what we've got, which is a diamond. It gets all the good midfielders in, which we've got plenty of. It gets me 2 strikes in. It's got me 10. I just don't see where Semenyo fits into that. And I don't see how Semenyo's good enough to shake that up and make me go, you know what, let's move away from this, because I think Vyerts look better in a diamond. I think Ekitike and Isak will look better in a diamond. I don't think Semenyo is good enough to shake the apple cart for that sense. I think the best club for Semenyo to go to is probably Man City. I think that the way Pep is playing this season is a lot more transitional based. I think that's opening up spaces for Semenyo or space for the wingers, shall I say, which Semenyo thrives in, which I don't think Arsenal do to the same degree. Arsenal can hit teams in transition, but City are hitting teams 5, 6, 7 times in transition dangerously. They're the situations Semenyo thrives in for Bournemouth. And I think that City, I think Pep, if it is his last season, or if it's not, either way, I think that the way he's evolved now, he wants to have one winger be more of, like that new inverted 10 type. He can play the 10, he can go out wide, he can operate that area. And the other one is a classic up and down the line, a lot of pace, a lot of power, can be the guy who gets us up the pitch and then gives it to the guys who can create. I think that's where Semenyo fits in more at City, where I agree with the Arsenal a lot. Because Arsenal play such a methodical style of play at times, Semenyo will, I almost think, end up with the same problems that sometimes face Martinelli and Trossard, where they just are effectively a cone on the left-hand side for everyone to play around, and he's just there to fill a position.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for some balance, Kate, do you think Spurs have got a chance of getting him? Because you're in for him.
If you think I'm going to answer that, Terry, while you're trying to take the piss out of me, you can right off.
No, I just think, because I mean, Spurs and Newcastle.
You said it at the start of the show. You went, they're going to go in for the race and they're not going to win 100%. So I'm not going to answer it. I refuse.
You might see it. You might see it differently. I mean, Newcastle have also been loosely linked to him, but surely you guys have learnt your lesson from the summer. You don't go in with the big boys. You don't play with the big boys.
It's not just that, but this guy's an Arsenal fan as well. Another
If they go for him, he will be an Arsenal player for sure.
So, but yeah, no, I'm not rising to your bait.
Do you ever watch The Office when I think David Brent's having an argument with the area manager, and like Gareth Keaton comes over and says, "Oh, do you want to back up if it kicks off?" And he just touches him in the chest and goes, "No, mate, this is some big boy shit." That's how I feel like speaking to Spurs fans when it comes to these kind of deals. This is big boy shit. You guys
I assume now you've hit 40, you've had a brave pill or two, because you're very leery today. And I refuse to jump to your bait at all. We should wait and see what Spurs do. The only bit of good news I've got is that 2 clubs want Brendan Johnson, and that makes me happy.
and for me, I think it's more ironic, to be honest, because of all the clubs that the players that we've gone in for, they've ended up going to clubs and they've been flops. So
yeah.
And then the ones that we get all seem to hit the ground running.
As Newcastle sit there slumped in the bottom half of the table. Nice one. Nice one.
We'll see where we finish by the end of the season.
Oh, that old chestnut. Trossard and Martinelli have both earned staying until the end of the season. If Semenyo doesn't want to wait until the summer, then good luck to him. I do think that's fair.
He's always dropping great.
I
super
will.
chats,
I will
this
say,
guy.
Terry, you also did say that we're in a false position and we're going to be finishing higher in the table as well. You said
well,
that
that's
nearly
that's
every
where,
week.
That's where you've got to learn to differentiate between me giving a real opinion and having a laugh with friends.
Mm.
Do you get that, Ash? Like, there's a difference. You know, when comedians are on stage, you know, when like Kevin Hart stands on stage telling jokes, you know, they're not real stories, right?
What?
I always thought they were real. No.
You know, he didn't really spit on his wife's head during sex. Like, it didn't really do that. Like, he's a joke. You know, when kids go to you, knock, knock, who's there? You know, someone's not actually at the door, Ash. So anyway, we'll move on. Semenyo won't help the forward line. However, Chelsea, come on now. You'll collect players like Fufus. What Fufus? Lafufus.
We collect. To be fair, we collect them, but when they come to us, they win. I can't say the same for us.
Is that not meant to be Labubu's?
The boo-boos, yeah. I think
right.
Look at this guy. Come to you can't even spell. What's going on?
Terry doesn't know what
bro.
Labubu is.
No, my kids have got them.
Oh, okay. Okay, fine.
You forget I got children, so yeah, all that stuff. My daughter, she said some really weird things. She said, "Daddy, do you like my dress for my party tomorrow?" I said, "Yes." She went, "Yes." She went, "I think I look slay," and I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
My sisters use that.
I was like, "The hell does slay mean?"
Yeah, and my daughter said that 6-7 meme the other day, and I'm like,
Oh, that's all they do. My kids, if they see 6 and a 7, like the numbers together, which is quite normal because look, like, a lot of the new car number plates are 6-7, aren't they? And they go mental for it. I'm like, 6-7. All the kids at their school wearing Christmas jumpers with 6-7 on. I don't understand it at all. I'm so old.
That's
If
crazy.
Foden won the Premier League and Champions League somehow this season, then he individually would have the same amount of Champions Leagues and more league titles than Chelsea in their history.
It's fair, but nobody on this panel can laugh at that because you all told me not to do ifs earlier. Thank you very much. Let's move on. No. Laura, you said if. You said if.
Yeah. Sorry.
You said don't do if.
This is if with the correct use of it because it's looking in the future. You were if backwards, you moving the goalposts. This is
I see. How many Champions League has Reece James got and how many has Arsenal got? Let's move on. Let's just move on. Let's just move on.
Here's the goalpost. We can talk about facts. It each time.
No, the goalposts are there because we can talk about facts. Reece James has got a Champions League. Arsenal as a club doesn't.
All right, Rafa.
Okay.
I'm saying?
I'm not disputing that.
I'm just saying.
I'm not disputing that, but I am completely disputing your use of if is totally different to this. This is if.
No, we was doing
you can't if
English today. What's going on?
Yeah. You know I'm right there. That's the problem.
No, I don't.
Loyalty and Chelsea in the same sentence. Ha is what T has got to say here.
We're changing, man. We're changing.
They were changing. Little bit. Not as much as Bruce Jenner, but you're changing. Do you know what I mean?
Man. Poch was a mercenary, boy, but I hear it though. I do agree with what they're saying.
I heard a Spurs fan. What Spurs? I think it might have been Abby Summers who was asking for Poch to come back the other day. The one thing I'd say about Tottenham fans, there's a percentage of you that are so desperate for your ex to come back. You know, it's like Max Branning and Stacey Slater. It's just never going to end.
You would laugh at this one, right? Here in Australia, they were talking about a few weeks ago when like all the stuff about Frank was coming up. Oh, maybe Ange should go back. Like, because that's obviously the Australian way of thinking. They think Ange is like the best manager ever.
Oh, no.
Like, maybe Ange should go back. I'm like, oh my God.
Very quickly before the end of the show, Laura, how do you think you're going to get on against Everton this weekend? How do you see that panning out for the Gooners?
I think we're going there at a lucky time because Everton are hopefully going to be without Grealish and a couple of others. So I'm going to go. I need Arsenal to perform really well. I think we'll win, but I think it's going to be tight, maybe 2-1.
What are you saying, Anton? How do you reckon your boys will do?
Yeah, I think this is a big bounce back.
What is the new stadium called? I forget what the new stadium's called.
The Hill Dickinson Stadium.
Hill Dickinson, right, there we go.
Tom would know, it's down the road from you, yeah? I think this is a big bounce back for Arsenal this week. One thing I've highlighted in the past is in these games that we've dropped away from home, it's been on the back end of a very, very tough week. I think the fact that we're going to go on a away trip without really having played any games will bode well for us, as Laura said. they're going to be down a few guys. I think that this will be a 2-0 Arsenal.
Anybody counter that? Anyone see this being a banana skin, another slip up for Arsenal?
I think Everton get the draw.
Ooh.
Of course you
I think Arsenal are going to go there complacent. Everton can nick a draw, but there is a hell of a lot of opium in there.
Be complacent.
So I don't know whether I really believe it, but I'm going to say it anyway.
No, I as much as I want to, Everton are missing NDI because of AFCON.
Dewsbury Hall as well, right?
Grealish,
NDI.
Branthwaite.
NDI.
NDI, you know.
NDI, mate. That's what it is.
NDI, you know.
Sounds like a government
NDI.
organization.
Mm-hmm. So Everton are missing about 6 starters.
Oh,
I don't think
Yeah, they're cooked.
Yeah, Arsenal winning that.
As much as I want this Arsenal slump, so I can live in my delusions of, oh my god, we're going to do a second half of the season title challenge. This won't be the game when it starts.
Is it
Hey,
no
you
drugs
say that.
institution? No.
You say that, but people said that about the bloody Wolves game.
They won it.
Yeah, they won.
But yeah, I know, but I'm saying that no one thought it'd be as close as what it was.
To be fair, there was 2 own goals, so you got a point, Ash.
I mean, no one, maybe a little closer. I think, but a lot of people haven't watched enough of Wolves this year. As much as they've not had the results. They've actually been very difficult for a lot of teams in a lot of matches. And the difference between when they played United, and people do a lot of this, United beat them by 4, we'll beat them by 7. That's just how children think, because they opened up against Man United because they fancied it as well, which is why I thought we might lose to them. They sat 11 men behind the ball for 89 minutes of the game. They kind of went forward once and scored. I didn't, looking back with hindsight, I think Arsenal should have won maybe a little more comfortably than they did. But Wolves, they've given a few teams half decent games this year, didn't they, Kate? You know, they've given a few teams some good games. So
I like 39-year-old Terry far more than 40-year-old Terry. I'm just going to put it out there.
Sometimes clubs move the summer business to January if possible, especially with a reasonable buyout clause. I'd still move for Semenyo in January. Look, you could be right, and that's the other side of it. If he really is, if Arsenal, if Arteta and Berta look at him as the gem signing of the summer, they might be forced into doing it now if the player goes, I'm actually liking this United offer, I'm liking this Spurs offer or something. They might be forced into doing it, but I think
we get other targets too.
Is it 70 million? This is really close.
65 million if you get it done by the 14th.
The thing is, something like that, wouldn't you think that potentially that's even worth a risk? Because I reckon, obviously, people have seen him, how he's performed, even for a lower club, that even if, say, he goes to like Arsenal or Man City, if he doesn't perform as well as maybe what they would hope, another team would still buy him. So I think it's worth the punt.
I mean, that's the thing that kind of annoys me with this Semenyo talk, is I feel like we're falling into the same trap we do with all these big signings. Like, we're talking about how, if Isak went to Liverpool, they'd start walking the league. I just feel like with Semenyo, let's see what he's like. He goes into Arsenal's, training or Man City's training. In reality, he looks great at Bournemouth, but is he better than Savinho? Is he better than Doku? Is he better than Foden? Does he start ahead of those players if they're all fit? You only know when they're sharing the same training.
Better than Savinho.
Same thing about, but you don't, because
I understand that, but then some people have it. But then some people have opinions, don't they, Anton? So I thought that Isak would work. I thought Liverpool would have a much better season. That's because I didn't expect them to change the way they played football. I expected them to add the players to an already thriving system, but they went against what was working. So when Arteta bought players in the summer, you saw it as a compliment to how he had you playing football. If you were told he's going to change shape, change system, change 4 or 5 players' roles within the team, then you might have a difference of opinion. And it's hard as fans to know. But I think fan content and having conversations, if everything was could go well, could go badly, we don't know. If that's what we said to every conversation, this show wouldn't be out.
I just want to be one of the people in the room that looks at it from both sides, because we're all going to talk, this could be the thing that changes everything, and it just might not be, like as Laura said.
No, it's fair. It's a fair point. Arsenal are facing the nastiest low block 100%. Oh yeah, it's going to be another one. Another team, 11 men behind the ball. Deep.
But this is Arsenal are getting away with far too much now. This is too much. When City were playing this possession-based football and facing these teams every week, no excuses were created for them because they were winning.
But they were all these teams.
No. You are.
But hang on.
No. You just bought the best striker in the world.
Stop.
You had the best squad in the multiverse.
Hang on.
And now you're saying you don't know if Semenyo will work because he's coming from Bournemouth.
Sorry. No, hang on. But
Gary,
Arsenal,
the reason why you're defending this because you've defended them. You've given them
it's not. I'm not defending it. You haven't even known what I'm going to say yet. The thing about Arsenal can't have these excuses because they're up against low, but they're top of the league. They're delivering.
Right. Why are we even talking about low blocks?
Well, because again, let's have it right. When Brentford went away to Man City this season, were they camped on the halfway line with their high line for Haaland to run through, or was 11 men behind the ball in their own box?
I can also ask you, early in the season when Ash talked about them struggling to score goals and you dug him out and you said he was waffling because you knew they were going to score more goals, which fair play to them, they did. When they fair play.
He scored 30 goals this season. How are we struggling to score goals?
Fair play. So if you guys are not going to struggle to score goals, why are we even talking about low blocks?
Because
if they analyze the game, Kwess.
Why are we talking about low blocks? Everybody faces low blocks. All of the top teams face low blocks.
Do you want to let me respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you were continuing to talk. The reason why we're talking about what the games are going to look like. No one's moaning, but you all know, as well as I do. That Bournemouth Man United game got loads of plaudits because both teams attacked. Yes or no? Both teams scored goals. What people are talking about is we know what the pattern of Arsenal games look like before you watch them. And every team they've played this season, including Liverpool in large parts and City as well, just sat behind the ball. They weren't great games from a spectacle point of view. That is all I'm referring to. No one's saying it's an excuse for Arsenal not to win the league. It's just from a spectacle point of view. We know Everton are not turning up on Saturday evening and going to go and attack Arsenal. We know that.
No, I'm not saying I don't agree with that, but I'm saying it shouldn't even be a conversation with Arsenal because you've been facing low blocks for the last 2 years. Yes, every team, okay, you might say more teams are doing it now, fine, but more teams are doing it against all of the top teams. Liverpool play possession-based football now under Slot. Chelsea have been playing possession-based football for how many years? Under how many different managers? We were facing low blocks under Sarri. That was one of the biggest criticisms.
I understand that. I do understand it. I'm speaking about it more as a spectacle. It's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying watching City now for the first time under Pep, because every team tries to have a go at City now because they fancy scoring goals. It makes the game more entertaining. The reason every single one of Pep's peak team, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, City, I never enjoyed watching because the games were so one-sided. And I don't enjoy football matches that are that one-sided. I like there being an element of jeopardy. Unless it's my team, then I love to dominate the ball and be the winner. Look, I want to thank everyone who's tuned in to the show today. It's always a pleasure to sit and speak football with you all. I want to thank our viewers, our super chatters, everyone who's hit the like button. Thank you. Laura, thanks for coming back on. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Anton and Kwess, great to see you both. Kate, always a pleasure, lovely. Ash, cheers, bruv, and fuck off, Tom, you scasser. Appreciate you being here. This super chat also said we are winning. Like Terry said, though, Wolves opened up more against them. It's not an excuse. Teams set up differently, so it's harder to score more. I agree. Listen, people, we're back tomorrow. I'm on with Ben Jacobs in the morning to talk transfers. I think he hasn't confirmed with me, but I'm sure he will later. Yes, he has. He said to me, yes, mate, usually around 11:30. Cool. So around 11:30 tomorrow, we'll be live. Then I have straight facts in the afternoon as well. Until next time, people, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. Actually, we're not redirecting to anyone. Who's live right now that I can redirect to? Who's live? Oh, there he is. Do-Rag Diaries. Go check out George. He's live. We're going to redirect you over there. Go and support my brother. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. We'll see you soon. Peace.